Rob, thank you very much. The second game of our doubleheader on FS1 rolls on from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A Big East showdown. The Friar team looking to go to 4-0 in conference play. The first time in school history that would happen. And a Golden Eagles team hunting down its first win in the conference this year. Welcome to Big East men's basketball with the Badger great Brian Butch. I'm Lisa Byington. And Brian, with a lack of a better term, these two teams are heading in opposite directions, I guess you could say, coming into tonight.
You got Providence, the hottest team in the Big East. They've won 8 straight. And then you've got Marquette trying to get that first Big East win for Coach Shaka Smart. Should be a great one tonight. Yeah,
we're looking forward to it. It's unpredictable, right? And so our Jeep starting lineup, Jeep, there's only one. We look at both teams here in the starting lineup, and we start with Marquette. They have the same starting lineup as that starting lineup that they had against Creighton. It was an overtime loss, a double overtime loss, and Shaka Smart has said we have to get out to a better start. You look at the starting lineup here for the Providence Friars, and there's no A.J. Reeves. That means Nate Watson's going to have to get some touches tonight. Jared Bynum is in the lineup. He'll play alongside a lot of minutes with Al Durham in the backcourt. And no A.J. Reeves, as we had said, so he's got that taped up. His finger was taped up. He's going to be out for probably a couple of weeks, is what the Providence people have told us. A broken finger that he suffered in the last game against DePaul. And Nate Watson, history tonight. 137th career game played at Providence is a new school record, and actually surpassing his former teammate, Tyron Cartwright, who was a senior when Nate Watson was a freshman. And no Friar player now has played more games than Nate Watson in that program history. The tip goes to Marquette and into the hands of Tyler Kolek, who is probably a Rhode Island native and grew up a Providence fan as a little kid. So this game means a little bit more to him. Inside Morcell. And attacking the boards right away. It's Queth. And you got your head coach, Ed Cooley, chasing history a little bit, sitting on 299 career wins when he told him at shoot-around that he could get 300 here tonight. He had us repeat it like twice because he didn't even know. And I love that about him.
And that's what makes him so special, having a chance to talk with him or shoot around. You know, he loves this team because they're an old team, and they understand what they need to do to be successful. And that's why you see them get up to the start that they have. Now, one of the things they're going to have to do tonight, rebound that basketball. Marquette gets offense rebound here, and that's why Kirk Queth gets the free throw line.
Love the way Marquette was kind of pursuing the offensive rebound on that first possession. Got to come out with some energy, and you see a little bit of pressure here out of the gates. 8-6 overall record. They've lost the last 4, and they got the turnover there.
And if you look at it, Bynum just drives right across the front half-court line. That's how turnovers happen.
Shaka Smart, we talked about how he said, and he emphasized to us at shoot-around, we got to get out to better starts. Several times this year, they found themselves in double-digit deficits against some teams. They've been up against it. And even the last game against Creighton, they found themselves trailing by 17. There's the bucket. It falls by Prosper.
If you're Marquette, that's the start you wanted. 2 drives to the paint, resulted in a free throw, offensive rebound, and then a layup.
First time across half court, really, for Providence here to begin this game. Turn it over on their first offensive possession. Here's Bynum. Providence with the senior starters, a very veteran, old team, I guess you could say. Old in a very complimentary sort of way. Here for college basketball, Bynum with the pump fake and a 3. Not there. Kolek gives it up, takes the handoff. Here's Justin Lewis taking it inside and throws it up. Justin Lewis, the leading scorer and rebounder there for Marquette.
And that's where he's got to drive the paint, come to 10 toes, come to a jump stop, and find one of your shooters.
And another turnover here for the Friars. Not the start that Providence wants here. Spin move, takes it in for 2. And Prosper's got a good start. 6-0 advantage here for Marquette.
See Providence going to a horn set here. They practice a bunch during shoot around. They've got to get some movement out of this. Look for the high-low. If it's not there, swing it. Find your open shooters.
Who hands it off? 5 seconds on the shot clock. Got to give it up. Minaya hits the three. He's normally known as kind of their defensive stopper. Only the 9th three-point make for him this year. First bucket here for Providence. Lewis with the long two try.
And that's the first settled by Marquette. Every other possession has gotten to the paint.
Bynum taking it inside. First touches there for Nate Watson. Ed Cooley said we're going to give him lots of touches here tonight. 1-point edge. Morcell with the pull-up. Mid-range. That's a 2.
And that's the way Marquette wants to play. They want to play fast. Fast means full court basketball.
Minaya inside, and he's challenged and picks up the foul. He'll have a couple coming up at the free throw line.
I love what Providence did on that last possession against the press. When someone's going to press you, attack it. Put pressure at that rim nice and early. Good things happen when you attack the rim. You get to the free throw line. You give yourself opportunities to get offensive rebounds. That's what Providence needs to do with Marquette being as aggressive as they are in that press.
Justin Minaya is one of the transfers from South Carolina. Ed Cooley had him come over to us and shake our hands and said basically that he felt like this was one of the best defenders in the Big East. And then he hit him on the shoulder and he said, go make a layup. Well, he hasn't made a layup yet, but he's made a couple of free throws and a three-point shot. Morcell looking to dump it off. We'll stay here.
Marquette's going to run a lot of double ball screen action. They feel like they can get the advantage with that double ball screen action there. They had it. Just got to go up with the jump shot. Morcell had the chance to be able to hit the jump shot.
Now look for the three-point shot. They average about 8 3-point makes. My goodness! Lewis with authority down the lane.
And when he doesn't settle, you can't stop him. He's got to attack the basket more because he can do stuff like that.
Justin Lewis, some of the opposing coaches, Dan Hurley was the latest after he put up 20 against UConn, said he's a first-team All-Big East player, definitely second team, but these opposing coaches impressed with Justin Lewis here.
And we talk about him not settling. 2 dribbles and the explosion to the basket. That's what Justin Lewis has to do. That's how Justin Lewis is an All-Big East player. Not settling for threes.
3 turnovers now for Providence. Lewis looking to back down and looking for more. That time laying it off softly with the left hand.
We keep talking about it, but Justin Lewis not settling is extremely tough to stop.
It's interesting, Lewis has shot the most three-point attempts here on this Marquette team, but he's found success there in the paint. Morcell picks up his first.
Justin Lewis has attacked the basket tonight, and when you attack the basket, good things happen.
Wisconsin, a Big East showdown between the Providence Flyers and Marquette Golden Eagles. Really good start. That's what Shaka Smart had wanted from the Golden Eagles team in a 12-6 start against the Providence Flyers team. You see they're ranked 16th in the country. That's because they've got a 13-1 start here. It's been a really good start here for Providence. They've actually even matched their win total of all of last year when they went 500, 13-13 last season. How about this, though? 2-0 against top 25 teams. Already had matched it from last year as well. And 5-0, that's the key against Quad 1 teams when you're talking about seeding for the NCAA tournament. And this has been, you mentioned it, Brian, this has been a kind of a favorite team, not just because they're winning, but the attitude, the chemistry, the understanding of what Providence basketball is all about. The best starts in school history. If they improve to 14-1, that which would actually maybe tie one of the best starts since 2015 and 2016. So you see on that graphic that already Ed Cooley and this Providence Friar team is going into territory that very few Providence basketball teams have ventured into. But a slow start here for Providence. 3 turnovers in the first 7 possessions.
And that's why they're down by 6. You've looked at this. This is a team that has not had double-digit turnovers in 4 of the last 6 games, 3 early on. You got to give a lot of credit to Marquette for forcing those turnovers.
And Cooley telling us that shoot-around actually happy that they've almost kept it almost to single-digit turnovers. And certainly just a kind of a head-scratching start here for the Friars, and certainly something that Marquette is going to force the issue a little bit, maybe with their full-court pressure.
Marquette, when you have that full court pressure, you're trying to make teams uncomfortable. They've done that so far early on.
Prosper's off the mark. It was something that Shaka Smart was hoping that his team would start with, hungry to get back on the winning track. It was something that Ed Cooley was afraid of, quite honestly, at shoot-around, that they might be hungry enough and come out with a high-energy attack.
And you can see that early on, all year long, Marquette has struggled. They've fallen behind in almost every single game. This is a great start for Marquette. This is the start they needed.
They've had 3 comeback wins, as well as some losses where they've fallen down.
And that's a great defensive possession there by Marquette. They guarded the hole 30 seconds.
And one counted again for Justin Lewis.
Yep. When you defend, good things happen. Transition happens. And that right there is just a pass ahead. Justin Lewis does a great job of running to the rim, realizing that no one's guarding him. And he gets the bucket for an and one.
Here's the thing with Justin Lewis. No 3-point attempts here so far. I mentioned that he's shot more threes than anyone else on this team. And Shaka Smart has kept a shot chart and has shown him. The shot chart is color oriented. Where you're successful, it goes red. Where you're really successful, it goes a deep, dark, bright red. And in the lane is where they have shown Justin Lewis to be the most successful here this year.
And I get that they've opened up his game, allowed him to shoot threes, but you got to go where you're going to get paid, where you're the best. And Justin Lewis going to the paint is where he is at his absolute best.
Lewis has the last 7 points here for Marquette. Now 6 on the timer, and shut down. This Marquette defense has come to play here early.
That is great defense by Marquette. They have defended so far in this first half, and it is a thing of beauty to watch. They're closing out with high hands. They're guarding. They're making multiple efforts. They're guarding as 5. This is about as good of a defensive possession that you will see in college basketball.
4 turnovers now for the Friars to begin with. 15-6 start. And no turnovers right now here for the Golden Eagles. Morcell for 3. Everything's going right here for Marquette. Part of a 10-0 run, and Ed Cooley throws his hands up in the air like, what's happening here? Marquette stroking it from deep and finding success on the inside. Plus 12 advantage. Well, you see A.J. Reeves coaching up his teammates. Again, Reeves been scratched. That off shooting hand bandaged up a little bit. You see, giving it up. The turnovers, a big story here so far between Providence, and points off of turnovers. Marquette's taking advantage.
No, why has Providence been so good this year? They've taken care of the ball. Yes, they've defended. Yes, they've been physical, but they've taken care of the basketball. Marquette has forced Providence to play faster than they want to play in the half court.
It's a matchup between kind of veteran experience in Providence and youthful look here for the Marquette Golden Eagles. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out. That storyline even plays out here throughout this game. And the youth of Marquette here hang on to this lead and keep this pace going here throughout the game.
That's a settled by Providence. That's what Marquette wants you to do.
Inside 13 minutes, you got a kick ball. And the shot clock will reset to 20.
Early on, Marquette is playing with great pace. Pace is in the half court. When you say Marquette is playing fast, that's full court. But in that half court, that pace that they're playing with, they are doing a great job of cutting hard and cutting with a purpose.
Well, Shaka Smart and this Marquette team, they average about a shot within the first 14.5 seconds of the shot clock. Marcel hanging, and he gets the 2 to fall.
We just talked about cutting with a purpose. Daryl Marcel cuts with a purpose, and he cuts right to the front of the rim.
Golden Eagles continue to be the aggressors here in this game. Very few touches there for Nate Watson. Only the 1 shot. 6 here to shoot. Durham, the Indiana transfer. Crossover challenge and a foul committed that time on Kolek.
We talked about how good Marquette has been cutting and being active. Here, you see Elliott drive. Daryl Marcel realizes that nobody has vision on him. He cuts right to the front of the rim. That's how active Marquette has been on the offensive end. Good things have happened. They've been active. They've found ways to get to the front of the rim. I love the way that they've come out and responded. They have not been able to do this the majority of the games, and the response that they have had today, tonight, this Marquette team, if they play with that level and passion, they're tough to play.
Well, they've had certainly some ups and downs during this season. They began the year winning first 5 games. They started out winning 8 of their first 10, now dropped the last 3. Providence, they hadn't scored since 16 minutes and 44 seconds until that free throw.
Now, after free throws, you'll see Providence go 2-1-2, try to get turnover just like they do here.
And Durham makes good on it. He is a guy who has flourished in a new location, a new coach, and a new system. 4 years at Indiana, left after the coaching change in Bloomington. And Durham comes down with the rebound. Watson from about 17 feet. And again, it's one and done here for Providence. Taking it baseline. There's the star in the Creighton game, Iguodaro.
Providence is in the zone. The big cannot come up too much. Coach Shaka Smart talked about it during shoot-around. That's what happened. And they're able to get underneath the zone and score with the layup.
Also, Iguodaro coming off a career-high 22 points that he picked up against Creighton, and he just got his first bucket of the game here tonight.
Good things happen when you listen to Coach during shoot-around. Iguodaro is underneath the zone, and he finishes.
Here from Marquette, 22-10 over a Providence Friar team that has won 8 straight and a perfect 3-0 in Big East Conference play. And this is a battle between what you call the veterans against the youth. This graphic tells it all in terms of the experience on the Providence side and the lack of experience, so to speak, on the Marquette side.
And you look at it, but a veteran team, you're down, but they've been through the battles. They know how to fight back. They chip away. You've got to start here with a good offensive possession. You've got to touch the post. You got a big fella that hasn't touched it. That's the best in the Big East. He's got to get the ball.
The 23 years that they averaged this Providence team at Cooley said that they're younger, or they're older, I should say, than the OKC Thunder in the NBA here this year. The youngest team in the NBA. Working around to Marcel from the wing. Marquette again will try to hunt down that 3-point shot. They've taken away the post touches here for Providence in the half-court sets. And Durham taking it inside. He got hit hard, but the follow is there that time.
And we were just talking about the experience there of Al Durham, to realizing they need to get to the paint. Good things happen, attack it. He's able to get there. He misses the layup, but offensive rebound, finish. See the zone Providence run. Right now the ball has stayed on top of the perimeter the entire time. Now Marquette has to settle. I don't love that possession there by Marquette at all. They've got to get ball movement. You got to get the zone to move, bodies to move.
That's Lewis's first 3-point attempt, 2 of this game, by the way. And the foul picked up by Justin Lewis. You know, we mentioned the Thunder stat. Here's the proof of that. 21 years, 229 days for an NBA team compared to a college basketball team that's 23 years, 83 days. think it was what, the Wisconsin Badgers, right? That could have bragged about
You
that
heard
last
that all
year.
last year. All last year. Every game you heard about that.
That's the world that we live in, right? When some of these players can get an extra year, the NCAA in the COVID era, if you will, that we're living in, the NCAA granting some of these players from last season an extra year if they want to take it. Some of these Providence Friars players returning, like a Nate Watson, deciding to return last March to play one final year here in Providence. And there's a foul on the three-point shot. It's Stevie Mitchell, the guilty party.
Marquette's been aggressive, and they've been very good on the defensive end. But this is the second time that they've fouled the jump shooter. And it's one of those things, you can't foul jump shooters. You got to be able to close out, have your feet underneath you, but you cannot hit the jump shooter. There, it's a foul. It's right on the elbow. It's an obvious foul. They're going to look to see if it's three. It's 3 shots. That's what they're looking at. That's an obvious foul right on the elbow. When you close out under control. But we talked about the experience with the youth, right? Who was closing out?
Yeah.
Stevie Mitchell, a young player that's learning how much space he needs to be able to close out to shooters.
One of the freshmen here on this team, he was a Steve Wojciechowski recruit, decided to honor his commitment even with the coaching change. They took a brief second to just, like you said, to look to see if it was a 3 or a 2. He's going to have 3 free throws here coming up. James Breeding, Tony Chiazza, and Ron Groover are your officials here tonight. Bynum checks back in and Durham checks back out. So really those two guards kind of playing with each other the first few minutes together in the backcourt. And now it's Ed Cooley who's kind of been swapping them out one at a time.
And if you're Providence, on the defensive end, you've got to guard. We've talked about how physical Providence is. You've got to really pick up your intensity, and you've got to make Marquette uncomfortable. You've seen the 1-2-2 press that they come off of the free throw. Now, guard.
An Ed Cooley basketball team is going to be physical, but really it's the Marquette Golden Eagles that kind of thrown the first punch here in this game. And an offensive foul call.
And it's on Prospect. He's got to come, and as a big wing, when you set that screen, you got to get your feet set. The fundamentals of basketball all start with your feet. You've got to make sure that you come, get to your feet set, and don't lean. It's going to be a foul every time on that. Prosper was not set at all.
That's his first personal here of the game. Prosper, a Clemson transfer. 4 transfers and 5 freshmen, 9 new players here for Marquette this year. Queth with that deflection and forces the turnover. And here's Cam Jones, who's back playing here for Marquette. He missed Creighton. He was in health and safety protocols. Kolick misses the triple try. There's a touch there for Watson. That's going to be key there for Providence. And Watson has 4 points.
What was the difference there? Last possession, it was a bad angle, led to a turnover. That time the guard brings it over to create a different angle so Watson can score right away.
They created that turnover. It was off the post deflection, which is something that Shaka Smart said at shoot around. Let's get 5 post deflections at the very least here tonight. Prosper nearly losing it, and he does lose it. Here's a turnover, and Providence is on the push. Step through move, in for 2. And Breed is the first score of the game for himself. A 12-2 run. You knew the vets on the Providence side would have some sort of answer. And a 12-2 run so far is their answer.
Getting out and running, Providence likes to do it. You see Breed with the finish.
Providence on the charge, a 22-18 advantage. We go inside the huddle with Shaka Smart.
Hey guys, against the press, 1-2-2, don't just hold it up here. Be ready to dribble. Be ready to dribble. Be aggressive.
And it's one of those things that they talked about during shoot around. And when Marquette has been aggressive against it, they've scored. When they've held it or haven't used a ball fake, they've struggled against it. And that's why, and I love the calmness that was in that huddle. You know, Providence, they're making a run. They're fighting their way back in. Shaka Smart just realizes, okay, it's a young group. I can't get wild and out of control either. I've got to understand that with these young guys, they need to learn and then play off of it.
Marquette playing with about 4 freshmen coming out of that huddle, just as an example when you talk about the youth and how are they going to handle this charge from this veteran Providence team. Triple try look there from Prosper, and he wings it home. His first three-point make, the second three-point make here from Marquette in this game. And they average about 8 of them per game. Hesitation there for Durham, taking it all the way. Partially blocked that time by Queth, one of the best shot blockers in the Big East. He averages almost about 3 blocks per game. That time it's short for Prosper, and the rebound from Queth.
And that was a great timeout by Shaka Smart. They come down, they move the ball, they get a corner 3, they get another corner 3 that leads to an offensive rebound. Great 5-0 answer here by Marquette.
This first half has been defined by field goal droughts. Providence kind of started out with almost a 5-minute scoring drought. Marquette has had about a 4-minute scoring drought up until the last couple of possessions. 4 to shoot. Fryer's got to hustle. Durham with the step back. That one popping out. How about the offensive rebound? And Minaya couldn't put it away. He was looking for the goaltending call, didn't get it.
Queth is so active down there. He's an eraser. When mistakes happen, he's able to get Marquette out of them.
Inside to Lewis, and he's got 9 points. And Marquette now responding with a 7-0 run. Golden Eagles have led the entire way here in this first half, a +11 advantage. Providence got it tight, and then Marquette has stretched it back out to a double-digit advantage here so far down the stretch of the first half. Now 6 to shoot, going deep into the shot clock once again on this half-court possession here for Providence. 1 to shoot, you got to hustle. Bynum didn't get it off. A shot clock violation.
Marquette's doing a great job of guarding. And they're guarding with 5. And that's what I like. Providence runs some loop action. They're trailing all of the screens. Like, just a great job of execution.
Jones with the triple try. Welcome back, Cam Jones, as he gets his first points tonight. A 10-0 Marquette run.
Well, we talk about that timeout by Shaka Smart, but that was a great timeout. It sets up this 10-0 run, and this lead balloons for Marquette.
Jones had been a starter. He had replaced Prosper as a starter 6 games prior to Creighton. It was a Creighton game, like I had mentioned, he had to miss because he was sitting in protocols. Good strong take. The foul not there for Watson. He stays with it, and guess who? Quick with the rejection. Already 3 blocks here so far for Kerr Queth, the best shot blocker in the Big East. Queth again. Oh, 4 blocks in the first half. Lewis with the take. Can't get the finish. And a foul there on the floor. We got 2 shots coming.
Lisa, we've talked about Kerr Queth being an eraser. They've given up offensive rebounds, but he has been there to block everything tonight. He's so quick off his feet. It's unbelievable. I mean, the ability that he has and the timing that he's, what makes a great shot blocker? It's the timing. And his timing on these blocks are phenomenal.
One of the transfers, I mentioned that Shaka has dealt with 9 newcomers, 4 transfers. Queth is one of them, played at Oklahoma, and guess what? He played against Shaka 4 times at Texas. And that's all Shaka needed to see, right? You want to come to Marquette and play for me? Come aboard, come to Milwaukee, please.
But what does a shot blocker give you? It lets your guards be more aggressive, and we've seen that because they have the trust of their teammate behind them who's going to clean up any mistakes that they might have.
4 minutes to play here before the half, 34-18 advantage. Marquette again has led the entire way, and they turn over Providence once again. And look at Shaka Smart sprinting out all the way to half court to high-five his guys.
And the zone has been good because Marquette has found its shooters.
Shaka Smart just sprinting out to half court to high-five his team. You don't see many head coaches do this.
And I love everything about this. Is what makes college basketball great. The passion that Shaka has. He's trying to get his first Big East win. It's a thing, and that's the energy they need. Providence has struggled, and they struggled because they've turned the ball over. We haven't seen them do this for the last 6 games. They haven't had double digits, and it's been careless turnovers. Yeah, Marquette's put pressure on them. That's a great defensive possession. But we've seen bad angles trying to make passes into the post. We've seen unforced turnovers by Providence. Very, very different than what we've seen over the last 6 games for this Providence team.
Well, Shaka Smart, that's one of the reasons why he's so happy with his team's performance here so far here tonight. They normally during the season, force an opponent into 14 turnovers. Already about halfway there. Brian Butch and Lisa Byington with you. It's a Marquette team that's trying to hunt down their first Big East Conference win here tonight. Providence Friar team that's looking to improve to 4-0 for the first time in school history. Never been done in Big East play.
And if you're Providence, you've got to feed your big fella.
Watson's calling for the position. He gets the touch and gives it back up. Minaya trying to look for him on the lob. It's not there. Jones, the spin move, and the three-point attempt. My goodness, it's like he never left.
And that's what youth is. Sometimes they don't know what they don't know.
15-0 scoring run and 4.5 minutes and counting. And the quick hands that time. It's off Providence last. Kolek forcing that turnover.
That's another turnover that just is careless. There's nowhere to drive there.
Mentioned it's a half of droughts. In Providence currently, the drought is 5 minutes and 6 seconds. And this Providence team averages 11 turnovers per game. They're already at 8 here in the first half. Kolek trying to hunt down his first points, and we got another offensive foul on the screen. That's 2 on Queth.
Cam Jones, young player. You're not supposed to be able to do this, by the way, Lisa. You're not supposed to be able to do this. It's a thing of beauty, and Marquette's rolling right now. You see Watson getting frustrated down low. He's posting hard. Marquette's doing a good job of having high hands on the perimeter passers, though. That's why they're not being able to get the ball into Watson.
It'll be Marquette basketball. Now, Watson has only shot 5 times. 16 minutes of play here in this first half.
Again, and because of the pressure, now you've got guys reaching in. Goes off of Al's leg. Yet another turnover by Providence. A sloppy first half by Providence. And to be honest, I'm shocked. I really am.
9 turnovers. We showed you that they average about 11 per game. Kolek is left wide open. He knocks that one down, and a little fist pump. The three-point shot has not necessarily fallen for him this year. Maybe something that's behind that fist pump and an 18-0 scoring run for the Golden Eagles.
And that 18-0 scoring run was all set up by a timeout by Shaka Smart when it was going the other way. That was a great timeout to reset this young group.
Providence had cut the lead down to single digits. Again, they haven't led once here so far in this first half, and they turn it over. 10 turnovers in this first half. Kolek was thinking about hunting down that three-point shot, finding Lewis, and it's Durham who comes over. Durham will take it himself. And Anaya battling for the rebound.
What a first half by Marquette, and everybody is contributing. You see the extra energy, the extra passes, and then you see Kolek bury the three, and it all is just from effort, and they're playing together. The ball is moving. Everybody's eating right now, and that's why they've got such a big lead.
Providence drought now 6 minutes and 50 seconds and counting here to close the half. An 18-point first half here for the Friars. Kolek drops it off, and Croswell gonna make you earn it from the free throw line.
And we've talked about Providence being more physical defensively. Providence has given up 40 points in the first half. That's not Providence basketball. That's not why and what we've seen so far this year. And again, a lot of it is just the pace that Marquette is playing at. But I think Providence is being a little soft in some of these issues. The ball screen, come out head, show hard. Instead of their soft showing. So now Marquette's able to turn the corner on pick and rolls. There you see the roller. It's a little pocket pass because they weren't up and aggressive in the pick and roll. They were flat on the pick and roll. So there you've got the pocket to make that pass, and that's why Marquette ends up at the free throw line.
Brian Butch, I want you to think about what you just said. You used the adjective soft to describe a Providence team, but that's what we're seeing here in the first half.
Yeah, Marquette has brought the punch. We saw a little counter punch by Providence, but Marquette's trying to bring this haymaker at the end of the first half. Again, now, second half adjustments, what do you do with Providence? Right now, you worry about getting a good possession.
I mean, an unbelievable Marquette 20-0 run here to close this first half. Providence's lowest first half scoring was 15 points against Virginia. And by the way, that's the only loss for Providence here this year. Marcel has picked up his second.
And Lisa, you got to give credit to Marquette because they're making Providence uncomfortable. But, and it's a big but, the turnovers that Providence have had, a lot of them have been unforced with bad angles and then over driving and then having turnovers that way.
Strongers team that's been on the road. They picked up a win in Chicago against DePaul on January 1st, 70-53. Stayed on the road in the Midwest and traveled up to Milwaukee. Kolek pulls it back. Shot clock still in play, and this it could be the final possession of the first half for Marquette at least. About an 8-second differential between shot and game clock. Kolek. Step back move for three. And Durham behind the back. That's a long two attempt. Goodine finds it. And that's the final play of the first half. Marquette, a 20-4 run to end the half, and a plus 20 advantage against the hottest team in the Big East here so far. Impressive the Golden Eagles have been. We turn the page here to the second half. All smiles here for Marquette, a 42-22 advantage. The 42 points, the most first half points Marquette has scored here this season. Brian Butch and Lisa Byington with you. So all positives here for Marquette. And you got to wonder, with Ed Cooley being as spirited as he is, the first couple of things that he's talked about in this locker room at halftime.
Providence needs to get back to Providence basketball. They need to defend, they need to be physical, and then they've got to pound it inside to watch. It's that simple. But start on the defensive end.
Your Jeep first half stats look like this. Very positive on the Marquette side, and lots of progress that needs to be made on the Providence side. But turnovers is definitely one of the biggest stories in the first half.
And you look at it, a little bit of it is Marquette being aggressive, a little bit is Providence just being careless with the basketball.
Tonight's stat comparison sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. PC giving up the most points in the first half tonight. The previous was 37 points against St. Peter's. Now you talk about the team leaders. Justin Lewis got the 11 points as well as the 7 rebounds. Kolek is basically at his average with the 5 assists after the first half. And oh, by the way, Queth has tied a career high in the first half with those 5 blocks.
He's done a great job of being that eraser and giving everybody confidence to get in, be aggressive defensively.
Same starting 5 here to open up here for Providence. The experienced senior leaders. Watson gets the first touch and the first look. Can't get the first points of the second half.
But right away, what do you see for Providence? They get the ball in the post, they get it to Watson, and let him work a little bit.
And he shot it 6 times, and there's the answer. Queth with the flush back the other way.
And again, defensively, where's the help on that for Providence? It isn't there. It hasn't been there all night.
Feeding Watson, so 2 possessions and 2 touches for the big man.
I think we know what Providence talked about in the locker room. We've got to get the ball down low. That's 2 straight possessions by Providence.
Yeah, the 2 straight possessions and 2 buckets back the other way for Marquette. And Queth has a quick 4 points to open up the second half.
And why have we seen lobs, back-to-back plays by Marquette? Simple pick-and-roll action. However, Watson is right in that no man's land. He's got to either commit to the ball or he's got to go back. He does neither. He's in that no man's land, and because of that, Marquette is punishing Providence in the pick and roll.
Queth has not had any double-figure scoring games so far this year. 8 points to go with his 5 blocks and the follow. The tip dunk from Watson. Inside take. That one rolls off, and Watson rips down the rebound.
You see Providence rebounding, trying to get it. It's goaltending by that with a little bit of a frustration foul. When you look at Providence, and you can see this, right, Lisa, like throughout, you can see the frustration of Providence.
Watson hands off to Durham. They were looking for that lob again. Watson's calling for it. Another touch. Not that time.
It's a good move, good possession on the offensive end for Providence. That's what you want. You just got to finish the shot.
And Queth gets fouled.
Marquette's been phenomenal this second half in the pick and roll. And Providence has not yet figured out what they're going to do with it. Next time down, expect Providence to change the way they're guarding the pick and roll, whether they blitz it, whether they push it down. But right now, Queth is rolling hard to that basket, putting pressure at the rim, and they're finding them, and the weak side help is not there. And then you look at Watson, he's kind of in that middle zone where he's guarding nobody.
Look at Ed Cooley's reaction. Just shaking his head. The Marquette team, let's not forget, knocked off Illinois. That was ranked number 10 at the time. Ole Miss, West Virginia, Kansas State. Mentioned that they started out winning their first 5 games of the season. 9 new faces have to gel and find this chemistry under a new head coach too, by the way. Correct with the kick out. Prosper finding Lewis inside the paint. He's been solid from that range tonight.
So we ask, why is Providence struggling on the offensive end? They're missing A.J. Reeves, and what does he give you? He gives you spacing. And right now, Marquette's able to pack that paint. They're trying to be really aggressive, and because A.J. Reeves is not playing tonight, that spacing shrinks, and I think it's a big part of why they're struggling on the offensive end.
Well, Watson gets another touch on that possession. He just can't convert on the last 2. Well, Bynum and Durham have been playing a lot of minutes here to begin this second half together in the absence of A.J. Reeves. Ed Cooley said he likes a couple of playmakers playing at the same time. A.J. Reeves, again, with that broken finger that he suffered in the last game against DePaul. You see it wrapped up there. Now, that's his offhand, not his shooting hand. And the Providence people say that, you know, they'll reevaluate him in about a couple weeks or so.
But I think him not playing really does cut down on Providence spacing, because he's able to be such a stretch-the-floor guard for this team.
Yeah, 3-point shot. Bynum with a potential 4-point play. Maybe some momentum here for the Friars coming up.
And that's the 3rd time Marquette has fouled a jump shooter tonight. Kolk falls asleep. Now, because he fell asleep, he's got to try to close out, and you can't run into shooters. That's the 3rd time tonight Marquette has done it. When you look at Providence, they're going to press after the free throw. They've done it all game long. See if they can generate a turnover. See if they can get themselves going. This is a veteran group that's down by 21. How do they respond?
Over to Lewis. Hasn't taken many of those. And Lewis hits his first 3-point shot of the night. Leading scorer of the game, Justin Lewis, with the 13 points. Bynum gives it up to Durham, and he gets fouled on the 3-point shot. Exactly what you're talking about, Brian Butch.
That's the 4th time that Marquette has fouled a jump shooter. How do you come back down 24? One of the best ways to come back in the game of basketball is you get to the free throw line. You slow the game down, you get points at the free throw line, and that's how comebacks start. If you're Marquette, you can't keep putting Providence at the free throw line.
Well, Brian, not only getting to the free throw line, but getting to the free throw line with 4-point plays on the line, with getting to the free throw line with 3 free throws here on the line. We're not just talking about a couple of free throws here as the last couple of possessions to the charity stripe.
And we've talked about Marquette being a young team, but those fouls haven't come from their young players. They're Darren Marcel, a guy that's played enough basketball to understand you can't foul in that situation.
We talked about what Ed Cooley talked about at halftime, but you know Shaka Smart has warned his young team about Providence making a charge here in this second half. They're not ranked 16th in the country, a net ranking of 24. For no reason. Hottest team in the Big East coming into tonight, a 3-0 record. They've won their last 8.
See Providence fall back into the 2-3 zone. They've got to be active. They've got to make sure they get in passing lanes with that. If you're Marquette, you've got to keep moving that ball. Get the defense to shift.
Backdoor luck, and the lob works that time. Iguodaro with another 2.
Really good job of zone offense there by Marquette. Got multiple sides. The ball moved back and forth. You hit the cutter.
Here's a guy who's been quiet all night. Merkler trying to hunt down his first points of the night.
Marquette has found ways to keep going, and it starts with Justin Lewis. And then good things happen when the ball moves. You run to the front of the rim. Iguodaro does that and finishes.
A A big advantage here for Marquette over Providence. It has been all Golden Eagles. Brian Butch, Lisa Byington with you. All Golden Eagles really defensively. Let's start there.
You look at what Marquette, who's been the best defensive team in the Big East? It's been Providence. Who's the best defensive team tonight on this floor? It's been the Marquette Golden Eagles. They've done it in a variety of ways. They've blocked shots. They've had multiple efforts. They've gotten steals. They have played at a different level. And when you look at it tonight, with this Providence team, you thought they'd be the better defensive team? No, 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 no. Marquette said, we're going to defend and we're going to make it difficult.
Well, the numbers going into tonight, that's one of the strengths here for Providence, right? Defensively.
Providence has only given up 57 points in Big East play. Now it's only 3 games, I get that, but 57 points, and you look at what Marquette's sitting at, it's unbelievable. They've given up 56 already tonight with 15:24 left in the game.
There's the bump. Kolick is whistled for his 3rd. You go back to it, just digest those numbers for a season. And still with 15 minutes and 20 seconds left to play in this game, by the way. Those numbers on the right still aren't complete.
And we talked about it. You know, Marquette, the keys for them to win, they need to play at the tempo. They're doing that. They need to continue to share the basketball. They're doing that. And they're rebounding the basketball. They're doing all 3 things that they need to do to win the game. That's why they're leading by so much.
Workler, who's a double-figure scorer, still with no points here for Providence. And Bynum launches a really deep 3 attempt on that possession.
Just not a good offensive possession there by Providence.
Quick shot that time by Elliott. Tip pass over to Cam Jones, who sinks it from deep.
And how much did they miss him against Creighton? A double overtime game, he didn't play, because he's able to do that. He's able to hit big-time shots.
Jones with the 9 points. He's a perfect 3 for 3 from 3.
We talk about being able to stretch the floor. As a young guy, I love his feet in this 3. His feet are lined up. That's when you're a shooter, it all starts with your base. And if you watch the feet there, it's a thing of beauty. It's underneath them, raises, knocks it in.
Tip to the hat, too, to Greg Elliott, too, who made that play happen, right? The tip pass of the offensive rebound just to set up a guy like Cam Jones, who averages about 7 points per game for the season. I mentioned he is 3 for 3 here so far with the 9 points here tonight. An offensive foul. We go back the other way. Nate Watson has picked up his 3rd. That's something to keep an eye on. Big man with 3 personal fouls with 14.5 left to play in this one. Jones deciding to take it inside and finishing with his offhand. 11 points off the bench. Ed Cooley calls a timeout. 7-0 run here for the Golden Eagles.
Marquette's been the more aggressive team, and Cam Jones shows you why with the drive to the rim.
These Marquette fans, plenty to smile about. A 28-point advantage. Largest lead of the game, 14-18 left to play here in this game. Saturday on Fox, it's a big day. UConn battling number 24, Seton Hall, in a crucial Big East tilt. Then it's heated Big Ten in-state showdown between Michigan State and Michigan. A huge day of college hoops tips off Saturday, 11:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, every Tuesday is one of the days that Mike DeCourcy has his bracketology coming out in terms of the Big East teams in the NCAA tournament. Mike has 6 of them in, and Providence on one of the highest seeds is a 3 seed here projected so far.
And the Big East in this league is so good. You see it time and time again. You know, Villanova, a 3 seed. Xavier, what they're doing as a 5 seed. UConn, I think there's still a lot of growth. I think UConn moves up a seed as this season continues to go along.
Marquette doesn't want to be left out as well. Fiserv Forum, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Brian Butch and Lisa Byington with you. A Marquette team looking to hunt down its first Big East win, going against a Providence Friar team that's looking to prove to 4-0 in conference play for the first time in school history. There's a block. Gadaro got that one. And a bump on the penetration from Prosper. That's his third.
Marquette's done a good job of using their length. We've seen the blocks, but guarding the ball, they've done a great job of one-on-one by just showing their hands there. It's a 50-50 call. And Prosper did a pretty good job of showing it. Now the hands come in a little bit. That's where the foul comes, but their length has really done a good job of making Providence uncomfortable tonight.
Here's Breed. Settles for that three-point shot. Croswell with the offensive rebound and putback. Croswell with 4 points coming off the bench. And the answer, he has not missed from back there. Hot for Cam Jones tonight.
We talked with Ed Cooley. He said, we want to make 8 threes, and we can't give up more than 6 threes. That was Marquette's 7th three.
And he's got the last 8 points for Marquette. Alan Breed's picked up his first. Ed Cooley told us that shoot around. No layups, no threes, body-to-body twos. You know, we've heard him say that, and they might be striking out on all 3.
We've seen layups, we've seen threes, and I don't know how many body-to-body twos we've seen. This is just as much game film as you watch. I'm shocked by the defensive performance by Providence, because this is not what they've put on tape all year long.
Lewis feeding inside that time. And we got a reach-in foul.
But you got to give credit to Marquette, too, in this. Like part of this is Marquette has done a great job on the offensive end of attacking Providence, of putting them in situations where they felt they had the advantage. We see it to start the second half in the pick and roll. We've seen them coming down with a couple pin downs.
Look out. Jones with his first miss. But Brian, I just like the attitude that Marquette came out in. You know, they established things from the jump.
This was the best start that Marquette has had all season long. And we talked with Shaka about it. He goes, I'm trying to figure out what group gives our guys a chance to get off to a good start. Well, you might have just found that group, Coach, because the way that they started that game was the best that they've done it. And it was the intensity. I also think it was the urgency. You're 0-3 in Big East play. You've got to get a win. And I think that by itself, college kids feel it, coaching staffs feel it, and the urgency they came out was crucial, I think, to their success.
And we got an offensive foul, so we'll go back the other way. It's not just getting a win. It's the fact that they've been so close in the last few conference games. You know, they lost to Xavier, they lost to UConn, they lost to Creighton. All of those, they had double-digit deficits that they had to overcome. Cut the lead down to 1 in some of those games. It very well could have won even a game like Creighton. Then you come off a double overtime loss. Maybe it starts to register how close you really are to getting a Big East win.
There's that, Lisa, but then when you get down big, there's a lot of energy that you have to use to work your way back. And then it makes it tough to close out games.
Reach and foul on the offensive rebound. Coming into tonight, you see the Big East standings. Providence, again, they only lost the 1 game here to Virginia. Came in with a 3-0 record, and you look at the bottom of it. Marquette is the team right now that's playing like they have the 3-0 conference record here tonight.
I love this league. I just do it. It's just basketball. Like that. When you look at that, you know that night in and night out, if you don't come to play, you're going to lose a game. And that's what makes this league so special, so great. We asked Coach Cooley that. Well, what do you love about the Big East? He goes, it's just what I've grown up with. It's just a special brand of basketball, the styles.
initiating. Orkler. Now 12 to shoot. Durham pulls for three. And Croswell fouled on the rebounding attempt. 30-point advantage for Marquette. Golden Eagles all night long so far. 66-35, Marquette absolutely dominating over Providence, one of the unbeatens in the Big East coming into tonight. Shaka Smart, we go inside the huddle and listen to the Marquette head coach.
Both teams are in the bonus. All right, let's not walk them to the line. Can't do anything about that one. They're out on the floor. Get your dot hand up early. Get it up early. Okay? The only way they come back is through threes, offensive rebounds, and fouls. Make them earn what they get.
Lisa, we talked about this. You can't foul jump shooters. You got to box out, put bodies on bodies, and then make sure you close out to three-point shooters. Marquette has done that all night long. That's why they're up big. And I love the way Shaka talks to this group. We've had a chance to hear it now twice, first half and second half. And it's calm, and you've got to have that with a young group. You've got to continue to emphasize how a team can get back into a game. That's what he did with this young group. And now they'll realize, okay, we need a rebound. We need to make sure we close out to our three-point shooters. We need to know KYP, know your personnel. Like, it's just a great reminder for this young group.
Goes from a head coach who's seen many highs and lows in different programs and in different seasons. 12 years at VCU in Texas before coming back home, if you will, a Madison, Wisconsin native for Shaka Smart. Goodine with the pump fake. That one rimming out. And Croswell getting it right back here for Providence. Another opportunity, perhaps. And Croswell blocked by Queth. That's a new career high here for him. He had 5 blocks before that one. 6 total here for the game. Five blocks, by the way, in the first half.
3 blocks on 1 possession.
That's right. He's got the length for sure, 6'10", a wingspan, but the timing is so impressive.
I'm so glad you said it, Lisa, because that's what it is. It's all about his timing with the shot blocker.
David Joplin with the putback. Durham with the runner into the lane. I'll tell you what, though, Providence is running out of time.
They're running out of time, and that's the first time that we've seen Providence really attack and get to the paint when it hasn't been a post touch. The guards have settled all game long, and they haven't broke that paint nearly enough to get 10 toes into it.
Morcell with the hard take. Quest trying to keep it alive. Orkler with the rebound. And Durham nearly lost it. Official's going to talk about it. And it'll stay here.
And you see Providence gets a little bit of a break there. It goes off of Al Durham's shoulder. Should have been Marquette basketball. You play up.
Durham takes the handoff. Queth is whistled for the foul.
But this is a crucial part of the game for Marquette. Why is it crucial?
Because they got to close it out, right?
You got to close it out. You feel like a couple of calls have gone your way. You've got a couple of tic-tac fouls. You see Kirkhead complaining about a foul there. This is where a culture of a new coach coming in and what you're built upon is so important. Don't worry about it. Next play mentality. Worry about what we're going to do to execute, how we close out this game.
Finishing games is something that Shaka Smart has talked to this young team about. emphasized 3 things. He said, you know, when I was an assistant under Oliver Purnell, I learned defense, taking care of the basketball, and free throws are ways to close out games, and it's something that they have had trouble with, in particular, even the last game against Creighton on January 1st.
And it's an easy mentality. Say, okay, we're up 28. We can kind of take our foot off the gas pedal a little bit. But this is where you learn how to close teams out, how to take advantage of your strengths. Still, even up big.
Collect directing Tafik, the Rhode Island native, grew up a Providence fan. It's Lewis from mid-range. Inside 9.5 here to play. Watson's not even in this game here for Providence. Croswell takes it inside for 2.
We see last 2 possessions. Marquette settles for an isolation jumper from the elbow, and then they let a guy get right to the front of the rim.
Marquette has led this entire way here so far. Here's Joplin. All kinds of talent. He knocks down the 3-point shot. David Chaplin, another one of the freshmen on this team.
Just Justin Lewis reading the double team, and instead of forcing it like he did last possession, finds the shooter.
And Queth wrapping up that time. He'll pick up his 4th.
Marquette final 35 for Queth, 4th personal, 19 blocks.
9 points. He's got 7 blocks tonight and just picked up his 4th personal foul.
And the one thing Providence didn't do a good enough job when they did get to the paint, did you see a single shot fake tonight from Providence? Because I didn't. And when you are playing against a shot block, when you're playing against a team with length, a simple shot fake gets a guy up off the feet, and now you're able to take advantage of that. We didn't see a lot of ball fakes when Marquette was in the zone either. Those are the 2 things offensively Providence struggled with. Shot fakes and ball fakes to get a defender to move a little bit. And that's why they're sitting at 43 points.
This is the beauty and the beast of the Big East, right? It's a matter of all these teams, all these coaches knowing each other so well, knowing the styles of play. And Shaka Smart just obviously has been around the game, even though this is his first year in the Big East. He knows what Providence is about. He knows what Ed Cooley's about.
And this Providence team, they are the hottest team in the Big East. There's a reason for it. They're really good. It just is one of those nights. It's just an off night for them.
Marquette has certainly been a big reason for that. Anaya picks up his 3rd.
And Liz, you're right. And it came from the urgency early on in this game. Marquette knew what they needed to do. And you got to go back and talk about that losing the way that they lost. You listen more. That hunger is in you deeper to understand that you got to get a win. And we talked to Coach Cooley about that. He goes, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the urgency that Marquette comes out with more than anything. Even now, the pickup points from Marquette, they're still pressuring the ball. They're still active. This is the way Marquette has to play, and they've got to do it for all 40.
Bynum takes it inside, flips it up with the left hand.
And as you say that, he gets blown right by Justin Lewis for the layup. But the majority of that possession was good. You got to finish out possessions.
Back down opportunity here for Justin Lewis. Takes it all the way inside. Can't drop it. Good look, though, for Justin Lewis. 6 of 14 shooting here tonight. Only attempted 3 3-point attempts here so far in this game. Bynum again, this time with the kick out. Rims out for Bree. On the push, Lewis with his 4th double-double this season, picking up that rebound. We'll take our under 8 timeout. Shaka Smart. Marquette Golden Eagles have led the entire way, looking to close it out against the hottest team in the Big East. 27-point advantage, Marquette over a ranked Providence team. 29 points is the largest.
Okay, let's get better over the next 4 minutes. Let's get better over the next 4 minutes, all right? Can't do nothing about what the game is. We got to get better the next 4 minutes. I will get better. We'll get better.
Lisa, I love that approach. You put the game down, and I think that's what this Providence team needs is, hey, we didn't play Providence basketball, but we can the last 7-19, and we have to the last 7-19. Get back to our principles of who we are. And I love that coaching. How many good coaches are in the Big East? I mean, this is just a great league. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Iguodala with authority.
There is going to be a lot of film breakdown on pick and roll coverage because Marquette has done a great job of it. Providence just hasn't handled it that well tonight.
And on that play, Kolek with his 9th assist, that ties a career high for him. Redshirt freshman transfer. Durham for 3. And the 4th three-point make here for Providence tonight. Kolek with the 9 assists. Feeds Lewis and an offensive foul. We go back the other way.
Marquette has been so good in the pick and roll action. It helps when you've got a point guard with great vision. It helps when you got a guy that can finish like that, too. Marquette has used their length at the rim, whether it be Kirk Queth. They finished at the rim in the pick and rolls. And, man, when you have a point guard like Kolek that's able to see the floor and see your big roll hard, good things normally happen. They've happened tonight for Marquette.
Bynum with the lob. They were going for Watson that time. Here's Kolek leading the break. Backdoor look. Lewis missed everything, wants that back, but he got fouled.
When you lose vision, it's the offensive man's job to cut straight to the rim. That's what happened. Providence loses vision. Lewis cuts right to the front of the rim, and he gets rewarded by going to the free throw line.
4 personals here on Watson. Lewis makes good on the second. And Marquette has done a good job getting to the free throw line here tonight. Last 5 games, though, they only average about 11 free throw attempts, about 16 here in this game. Bynum with the take, well off the mark. Here comes Marquette. Kolek into the corner for Lewis, rings it home. Marquette is rolling.
Good transition offense. You push it up, you swing the top of the key, one more kick for a wide open 3.
80 points that they put on a Providence Friar team. Here comes more for the Golden Eagles, and the foul committed by Durham.
They've put 80 points on this Providence team that has given up 57 in 3 Big East games.
For the season, opponents average about 61.
I mean, it's a great offensive performance by Marquette, and a lot of it has just come by simple pick and roll. And, you know, Kolek being able to read and the bigs rolling hard. And then a lot of it's come from Providence's turnovers, too.
The contrast, we've showed it to you at the beginning of the second half. We show it to you towards the end of the second half. The contrast in numbers for the season averages versus what Marquette has been able to do against that defense tonight.
And you look at, for me, I look at the rebounding. And why am I looking at the rebounding the most? That's the physicality of the game. And Marquette has answered the physicality of what Providence brought to this game.
Up until tonight, the most points that Providence had given up was 73 against Fairfield. 82 now for Marquette. Durham looking to split the difference in the rebound here to Jones. Joplin will take the triple try. Prosper. One fake, two fakes. Wankler, a double-figure score. Still trying to hunt down his first points. And if that isn't maybe a picturesque of the kind of night that it's been for Providence, I don't know what is on that possession.
But this is why I love college basketball. Providence 16th in the country. Off to such a great start. Everyone tells them how great they are. And you've got a game like this. And not that a loss is a good thing. But don't think that at times teams need a game like this just to regroup and realize, okay, we're not as good as we are. We're not reading our own press clippings. We've got to get back to the work that led to why we've gotten off to the start that we've gotten off to.
Reverse goes, and there's his first points. A guy who averages about 10.5 points per game. It took him this long to get on the board. Marion Ellis, one of the freshmen, initiating the offense. Iguodaro with another bucket.
It was just a simple pick and roll, little pocket pass for the floater.
Now it's just a matter of what the final score is going to be.
Got to give a lot of credit to Chuck Smart realizing some of the weaknesses that Providence had on the defensive end and capitalizing on it as well. And Marquette to the players for executing the game plan that was in place.
Cam Jones flips it over. One of the few times that Marquette has been able to play with a full roster with Cam Jones back and healthy, and boy, has he been healthy. 14 points, 4 of 5 from three-point territory, off the bench. Just one of the offensive sparks here for the Golden Eagles tonight. Prosper. Iguodaro with the cleanup job. A 13-2 scoring run before that bucket. And Providence will call a timeout. Domination in Milwaukee by the home team. Marquette just minutes away from its first Big East win. 88-54, it has been a memorable night here for Marquette, not only to try to knock off a top 25 team, but career-high nights for not one, but a few players here on the Golden Eagles side.
Well, Lisa, this got him going early and often. Justin Lewis with the finish. And it all started because he was aggressive going to the rim. And then he worried about shooting threes. And you look at Corey Queth and what he's done. the pogo stick himself has been able to block shot after shot after shot, and it's because he's got great timing. He's fantastic at what he does. Then you look at Tyler Kolek and what he's done with 9 assists on the night. All career highs for these guys. They came out as a unit, realized the importance of the game, and executed it.
Tyler Kolek, as we had mentioned, a Rhode Island native. In his family, they went to several Providence games when he was growing up. In fact, his family had season tickets in Providence. It just didn't work out in terms of the number of guards that the Friars had on their roster. That's what Ed Cooley told us. But, you know, his hometown, back out east, he grew up watching this Friar basketball program. Tyler Kolek going to George Mason, was the A-10 Conference Rookie of the Year last year, and then deciding to transfer into Big East territory, playing at Marquette for the first season this year.
And it's worked out for both programs. Dodgers get a chance to excel here at Marquette, and Providence gets out Durham, and they're 16th in the country.
And Kolek's parents and family still attend some Providence games. They still got some fans who have season tickets. They don't have season tickets, is what we're told, anymore, but they'll be in attendance sometimes watching the Friars this year. A 13-1 start here for Providence. A win today would have tied them for the best start at 14-1 when you go back to the 2015-2016 season. Ed Cooley will have to wait at least another game to get to career win number 300. We'll have to wait another season to try to get a 4-0 for the first time in school history in Big East play.
And the real question I have is, how long is A.J. Reeves out? For this team offensively, they scored 54 points, and to me, the spacing was off tonight for Providence on the offensive end. Yes, Marquette was aggressive. They punched. They were more physical than Providence, which we don't say hardly at all about a Providence team. But I really thought the spacing was the biggest thing.
And they're able to collapse on a guy like Nate Watson, who averages about 14 points per game, only 8 here tonight. Durham is a guy who scored above his average with 16 points, but the only double-figure scorer on this Providence roster here tonight. A team that shot 5 of 18 from three-point territory. Cam Brown from mid-range, and so now you got some subs in here for the Marquette side. Tip is good there for the Friars. What a way for Shaka Smart to get his first Big East win as the head coach at Marquette. The largest margin of victory against a ranked opponent in school history.
They did it from the start of the game, and they found a way to finish it throughout. Great game by Marquette.
Domination across the board. Marquette led the entire way. 88-56, the final. Golden Eagles pick up Big East win number 1. For Brian Butch, I'm Lisa Byington saying so long from Milwaukee.